Okay, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is David Da Costa. I am a three-star director with our phenomenal travel company, Planet Marketing. We are not talking so much about business today. We are talking about relationships. Welcome to part two of our phenomenal Zoom podcast where we discuss all things relationships, travel, money, business. So, really excited to have some amazing speakers on the line with me today. So, what I'm going to do is I've got the honor to invite them to the line, and you are going to learn so much about these people, their wisdom, their mindset. In fact, I'm not actually going to do too much of an introduction. I want them to introduce themselves, about their life, their relationship, and where they are at in our travel business. Because we all work together in our travel business. We came together because all of us have different skill sets or reasons why we've got value to offer in the relationship sector, talking about business, money, love, travel. So the first person I'm going to bring up is the phenomenal, amazing Kelechi. Now, again, I'm not going to say all her accolades. I'm going to allow her to do it for herself, but she is absolutely amazing. And I'm really excited and honored to be in a business with Kelechi. So I'm going to allow her to introduce herself very quickly and tell us a bit about who she is and why she's excited about this podcast talking about relationship and why she's qualified. In terms of what she's where she's at in her relationship. Because she has a wealth of knowledge. She runs a phenomenal podcast, and I can't wait for you to hear her wisdom. So Kelechi, over to you.
Thank you. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Loud and clear. Take it away.
Fantastic. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kelechi Chatfika. I'm a qualified anaesthetic practitioner by trade. I've been working in the NHS for over a decade. And I've got a podcast. Yes, absolutely. I've got a podcast with my husband, which is called the Husband and Life Podcast. And we talk about all things to do with love, friendship, and relationships, especially when it comes to marriage and being, parents and looking after our children. But we kind of have a fun view on it. We like to have fun with it. We like to talk about dilemmas. We like to talk about our daily lives. And I've been in the travel business for the last few months. I started in September last year. I was really tired of working long hours, working long shifts in the NHS. And I wanted something different. I wanted to spend more time with my family. I wanted to make more decisions about where my life was going and what I wanted to do for my daily activities. And so I took a chance on myself and I bet on myself and I took the leap and I was able to really take control of my life and decide that, it's time to have that freedom, which I'm thankfully enjoying now that I've done all the hard work and continue to do all the hard work. And I loved the fact that we were able to come back and do part two of our podcast today, talking about relationships and talking about how you can use travel and money to help you to improve your relationships. It's a great topic. And thank you so much for inviting me today, Director David.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, I'm going to pass over to the amazing Stephen Deegan, all the way out in Glasgow, Scotland. I've been working with Stephen for well over about 7 odd years now in the travel space. He's the reason why we have a huge organization out in Scotland. An amazing person who's obviously got decades of experience in marriage. And again, I'm not going to say too much. I want him to introduce himself. So without further ado, I'm going to bring in the spotlight Stephen, and over to you, sir.
Good evening, David, and good evening, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. My name is Stephen Deegan, based out here in Glasgow, Scotland. Actually, it's over 8.5 years I've known you, David, been working with you. Got a team of over 60 people. And just my background was hospitality. I was a chef. I met my wife when we were 15, 55 this year. Been married 30 years. We celebrated our 30th wedding anniversary this year. And I was reading a book the other day there. Was it a book or a podcast? I can't remember. I was reading something the other day there, and they were saying that if you do 10,000 hours of anything, you become an expert. Well, I've put in 265,000 hours in marriage. So I'm putting down and I'm qualifying myself as an expert. Back over to you, David.
I absolutely love that, Stephen. It kind of puts it in perspective for me. I got married literally like 3 weeks ago, so I've got this much. Well, I've got about 7 hours worth of experience. So, well, without further ado, last but not least, our host, someone who is very credible when it comes to relationships because she is a relationship expert and coach. And again, I'm going to let her quickly share her accolades before we dive into the first topic. She is, of course, the phenomenal Coach Glory, who I'm going to bring to the line to quickly share, a little bit about herself, her background, and why she's qualified to be on this podcast talking about all things love, life, relationship, marriage, money, and travel. So without further ado, over to you, Coach Glory.
Thank you so much, David. Good evening, everyone. It's great to be here. My name is Glory Olamide. I have been married for 25 years and I have 3 amazing children, two sons in their 20s, and my daughter she's 15. She's the youngest.
I think we might have lost her. I don't know. You guys can't hear her, can you? Oh, bad signal. Okay, no problem. Well, I know she'll probably come back in when the signal. Oh, can you hear us now, Coach Glory?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Go ahead. Carry on. Yeah, carry on. Yeah, you just cut out.
Oh, sorry about that. My connection, I think.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
So I've been a certified relationship and marriage coach for about 10 years now. And yeah, I have a website called Glorious Marital Bliss. And I talk about relationships on YouTube as well. That's called Glorious Talk Show. And I have a podcast called Life Stories with Glory. That's all available online, where I love to share real life stories about people, what they've been through and how they have overcome. Because marriage, we know, is not a bed of roses and it's not all bad. There are good sides to marriage. So I like to promote that good side and let people know that even though there are challenges, you can overcome. So thanks for having me here tonight. I look forward to having a conversation. And I have been in this business as well for a few months, and I'm close to silver, running for gold. Can't wait to be there.
Fantastic. Well, thank you again. The 4 of you, we're like the Avengers. We've all assembled and, we're going to create some magic. Well, we don't want to be too long on this one. I know some of us have got calls at 9 as well. So we're going to be very quick. Well, let's be very quick, rapid fire. We're not going to do too many long answers. We're going to really thrash this out in a few minutes and let's give real value. And at 9 p.m. sharp, we're going to actually go into our presentation to explain how our business works. So we're talking on a few different topics. So just for everybody who is, tuning in and want to know what topics we're talking about today, we're talking about the topics of communication strategies in relationships, financial abuse and how it impacts marriages, the power struggle between couples when one person is a breadwinner, and as it's the summer holidays right now, we're in August, we can discuss parental guilt when you can't afford to take your children on holiday or family days out. So those are the topics. So we're going to first start off with communication strategies. Communication is key. It's one of the most important things in relationships, in marriages, whether you're boyfriend, girlfriend, or husband and wife. And I'm going to pass over to Coach Glory to kick us off. I'm not as qualified. I'm newly married. My ring is still shining. So I'm excited to listen and learn to people who have been married many, many years longer than myself. So I'm going to be learning here. and taking my notes. So without further ado, I'm going to pass over to Coach Glover. We're talking about communication strategy. So we're going to be very quick. We're going to keep all of our answers to, if we can almost keep them to, on each topic, 3, 4, 5 minutes max, then we can try and finish at 9.
Thank you so much. Right. So effective communication, as you heard David say, is key. Very key. It's very important in us having great relationships. If we don't communicate we all communicate, right? But we're talking about effective communication. Now, think about it this way. You have a channel or your phone. You get to a point where there's some disruption and you can't really hear what the other person is saying on the other side. What happens? There's no effective communication taking place there. So in a marriage, there's an old saying where I come from, Nigeria, that before you talk to your spouse, wait for them, look for that conducive moment when they are more receptive. Not when they're coming back from work and you're like, okay, there's something I need to discuss with you. They will not be receptive. They can't really take in what you have to say. So you have this great idea, which you have processed in your own mind. Now you need to think about the channel. How am I going to make sure my spouse or my partner is able to truly understand where I'm coming from or what I have to say? So you have the idea, you have the encoding, that's the process in your mind. Now you have to choose your channel. How are you going to communicate? That is where we find a space. You know, when they are more relaxed and we go to them and we table whatever, you know, we have in mind, then they are able to receive it. They have to also decode what you have told them. Because remember, they haven't heard you say this before. They are hearing it for the first time. They have to process it and truly understand what you are saying and where you are coming from. And they give you feedback. Now, in the process of giving you feedback, they may misunderstand what you said. And then you see couples getting upset. That's not what I'm trying to say. Why do you always misunderstand me? That's because there's been some disruption somewhere. Probably he or she has just come in and they're tired. That tiredness is a disruption. Or they're not focused. Their mind is somewhere else. They are thinking about work. They haven't had time to offload all the problems from work. And here you are bringing in something very important. They can't really process it and miscommunication takes place, you see. So it's important for couples to choose the right time. And when you hear your spouse say something, one strategy I'm going to give to us is to say, if I hear you right, are you saying this and this and that? They might say, oh no, it gives them the chance to correct you. Say, no, that's not what I meant to say. This is, and then they tell you what they actually mean. And that gives you the chance to say, oh, okay, I'm sorry. I misunderstood you. Now I understand where you're coming from. And then you work together. Remember, marriage is all about partnership. Now you are on the same page. You've heard, they feel heard and they feel happy because, yeah, my spouse really loves me, cares, or he or she cares about how I feel and what I have to say. And then, you know, the feedback is very important. We always have to clarify, is this what you are saying? And if they say yes, thanks for listening and thanks for understanding me. So that's one strategy
Fantastic. Well, we're going to pass straight over to, let's go to Stephen. Again, a wealth of knowledge. I'm sure you've had your, ups and downs and issues with communication. Would love to hear, some topics from yourself on the topic of communication.
Of course I have, David. I'm a man. I love that, by the way. If I hear you right, okay, and I'm definitely going to be using that, Glory, because, and I'm speaking to all the men out there, right? When I say this, it's not just the words that your wife says, it's the tone and the way that they say it. Okay, so when we ask a question and we hear what we think is the right answer, sometimes it's not the right answer. And we've got to learn to not just listen to the words, but listen to the tone and listen to the way it's said. And I love that. If I hear you right, I'm going to definitely use that. So that's my advice to all the men out there: is don't just listen to what you think you're going to hear. Listen to the tone and the way it's put across to you. Back to you, David.
So we're going to go straight over to Kelechi. Again, I mean, you've talked about this topic on your podcast before. So definitely excited to hear your topic and your take on communication in a relationship.
So I think with it, when it comes to communication, it's something that takes time, especially when you go from boyfriend and girlfriend to husband and wife. There are a lot of life decisions that you have to make. When you transition from being in a long-term relationship to being life partners for the rest of your lives till death do us part. So you kind of have to understand each other's love languages. You have to understand how to communicate with each other and what way your partner wants to be communicated to. Some days, there's days where you are ready to shout and scream because you've said it 3,000 times and it's still not getting it. So you shout out frustration, out of annoyance. And sometimes you do get a response. And sometimes you don't, because that's not the love language. That's not the communication strategy that they want. So you have to, it's very much trial and error sometimes to figure out how you can communicate effectively with your partner when you transition from that long-term relationship to devout partners for the rest of your lives, and know that there's going to be things that you're going to be talking about that you never thought you would ever have to discuss, because of the fact that life is different now. The things that you do are different. You may have changed careers, you may have a different mindset, maybe you've got some children involved in your plans now. So everything is a new experience, and therefore you have to remember to use kindness with your words, and let those land, let that take time to land when you're saying things. One of the tips that I use, that we use with my husband, is that we say to each other, are you ready to receive this information? This is something that we use in the hospital as well. When we are in the emergency services and somebody's come into resus, and we need to do a handover, we ask the person who's in charge of the team, are you ready to receive the information? So that they are ready and they're listening, actively listening, so that they can start to treat the patient. So it's something that I use now at home, that I've learned at work. And I say, are you ready to receive information? Are you ready to talk? We sit down, we make sure there's no distractions, no phones, no TV on, no kids. And we sit down and talk about things, and it's been effective for us. That's how we've been able to even start this podcast, because we were able to communicate really well. So back to you, David.
Fantastic. And again, I'm going to quickly chime in on this topic, not like I'm qualified, newly married and that, but simple one. And I've been guilty of this even very recently, being busy and been on my phone. And sometimes your spouse is talking to you about something and you both know it's not that important. Oh my gosh, I can't believe, this happened in the Olympics. Oh my gosh, it's really cold outside. And it's not the most important thing in life. They're just saying a phrase or just talking about something that is just not that deep. And that's okay. You might be on your phone and listening and talking back at the same time, but then you've got to know your spouse, hence why you married them, hence why you're with them for more than a year. You should know when they're talking about something that they really want your undivided attention in. They want you to be able to communicate with them effectively. And if you're in a place where what you're doing is super busy, you're filling out your visa form and you've got a 60-second timer, you can't leave it or you're going to mess up your visa and waste your deposit, right? Then let them know. Don't try and be, yeah, baby, Oh, really? Okay, she died? Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, that's good. No, it's not good. No. Okay. What? You don't know what she said. You don't know what she's talking about. You don't know what he's saying because you're focused on something. It's better to say, baby, give me 1 second. I need to get this done because it's going to time out if I don't get this done. I've got to send this email before 7 p.m. Give me 1 second so we can talk properly afterwards. It's better to say something like that if what you're doing is more important. If you're just scratching your cheeks, then maybe that's not that important. You listen to your wife, listen to your husband. But if you're doing something which is very important that you can't take your time away from, let them know. Don't give them half-hearted attention. They really want to get your attention. They want to share something with you, maybe something that happened in their day, how they're feeling, and you're on your phone playing Candy Crush, and you're like, yeah. And again, I'm talking to me. I've been guilty of doing this even recently, and I've had to stop myself and say, you know what? My wife is trying to talk to me about something that is more important than, oh, it's raining outside. No, there's something important she wants to share with me, and I need to know when to switch off on what I'm doing, if I'm able to, turn around and give her that undivided attention. And also another thing, I've got a lot of these playing card games. I can't find any now. They're card games where there are sorts of questions about relationships. Some of you may not know how to start a conversation, talk about sensitive topics. Hey, wife, I want to talk about our sex life. Hey, husband, I want to talk about our money, and just starting the conversation is like, whoa, we're not used to this. But by playing card games and reading relationship or couple books, which will prompt you with questions, which will give you scenarios, and you might want to check some of the cards beforehand to see if they're the type of stuff that you want to talk about. Check the book beforehand to see if it's the type of book that would benefit you guys and be the topic that you guys want to talk about. And then do that as a soft way to let someone else, massage those topics into your atmosphere. The topic of money, the topic of, sex, the topic of love, the topic of family. By using card games and books, it's a great way to undivided attention, not on your phone at the same time. When you're awake in bed, when you're putting aside that quality time to play these card games together, to read the book together, to learn more about each other, to communicate about really important topics that otherwise you might be shy to bring up and mention. So next topic we're going to go on to is we're now going to talk about financial abuse and how it impacts marriages. And I'm going to start off with Stephen Deegan on this topic. Financial abuse, not that maybe any of us do it or have experienced it, but we all know someone who maybe holds the power, holds the money, and uses that in a negative way to their spouse. Over to you, Stephen.
Yeah, I think this is one that can happen inadvertently. When somebody earns more money than the other person, it can sometimes happen. And it also can happen when you don't have those conversations that Kelechi was talking about earlier, and moving from being a couple to being a married unit. Some people will have separate bank accounts, and to me, that's strange, because we've had joint bank accounts since the day we got married, since before we got married. Now, do we have separate bank accounts as well? Yeah. But our salaries go into the joint bank account. And then anything we want out of that comes out of that. Once all the bills are paid. And I suppose we've been quite lucky in that there's been lots of times where I've been the breadwinner in our house, and there's sometimes that Max has been the breadwinner in our house. So we've never really seen that happen, but I have seen it happen in other houses where, and sometimes it's not the breadwinner that's the financial abuser, it's the other person that's spending all the money and getting them in debt because they're feeling as if they're not part of the deal. And that's got to be spoken about as well. But I'm sure Coach Glory can add more on to top of that. Coach Glory.
Yes, I'm here. Yes, like you said, financial abuse, sometimes the couple may withhold the use of money from their partner. And oftentimes, It may not be the person who has all the money, like you said, they have a joint account, both parties put in the salaries in that joint account, but one person is a spender, always spending the money. That's also known as financial abuse. Yeah. So what do you do in this case? It's not always possible to have a joint account. Some couples prefer not to have a joint account because they know that once the money is in there, before you know it, before the bills are paid, it's gone. So what do? It's important to seek help. You have to seek help. Take your partner, to have a conversation that this has been happening and I'm not happy about this. It's now gone beyond where, you just stopping because it seems you can't stop. Can we please seek help? There are counselors out there, there's therapy, these are solutions available to everyone in order to have a healthy relationship. And if having separate bank accounts is going to solve the problem, why not? It's okay. And then you work your way through until you can build trust again, where you know that you've sought help and this person can now stop abusing the finances of the home. Are you ready for us to have a joint account again? You are able to build trust. It just takes one step at a time. Yeah, and then you can decide to have a joint account again. That's fine.
Fantastic. And Kelechi, I'd love to get your take on this topic before we go on to our final topic.
Yeah, so with this topic, we talked about this actually on our Husband and Life podcast because it was a dilemma that we had from one of our listeners. And she was very upset at the fact that her partner had turned around and said to her, well, when you get a job, you can make decisions in the household, which was very demeaning for her, very embarrassing because it was in front of family members that were in the house. And it just made her feel extremely small. And, our advice to her was to say she needs to sit down with her husband and actually start making decisions about how are they going to deal with their finances. It's not a case of him holding the money in front of her and saying, it's just mine, when they both made the decision for her to be a stay-at-home mum. So therefore, even though she's not contributing, financially towards the household, she's very much contributing in other ways towards the household. Being a stay-at-home mum is definitely a job on its own. And a lot of people don't understand how hard that job is, to be available 24/7 for your children. They just had a baby, so she was very much dealing with how, becoming a new mother, dealing with looking after a household for the first time because she had been working before she became a stay-at-home mum. So it's a thing where you have to sit down and discuss how are you going to divide the finances. If one of you is the breadwinner, how are we going to pay the bills? Are you going to be giving an allowance? Are you going to be budgeting? What are you going to be doing? It's really important to have these conversations. Like I said before, when you decide to be husband and wife, are you having these conversations about your money? Who's bringing in money here, bringing in money there? What is the income for both people in the household? And they're making decisions together on what you're going to do with your money. Even though one person's going to work and the other's at home, it's our money, it's not your money. Once you make that decision that someone's going to stay at home. So it was about empowering the wife and letting her know that she does have a voice, she does have a say, and that she needs to find a way to communicate really well with her partner on what she's going to do in terms of the finance and how they're going to go moving forward, because he can't really continue to speak to her like that. That's just not acceptable. Back to you, David.
Fantastic. And Stephen, I know you need to jump onto an amazing call you've got at 9. So I'm going to get you just to, really quickly close out from yourself on the final topic we're going to speak about. And we're going to look at it in 2 parts. One is for those of you on the line who have children, the parental guilt, now that we're in August, now that we're in the summertime, of if the finances are low and you're not able to take your children away on that family day out or that holiday, you see your peers maybe doing it. And that parental guilt that my children is not going to Disneyland this year because we don't have the money. And even if you don't have children, it's just a couple, that guilt or that insecurity that you see all your peers traveling, the vacation, the romantic getaway, the love hearts and the balloons, the hot air balloon ride, and the rose petals on a bed in the 5-star hotel, and everybody at, whether it's Valentine's Day, or whether it's Christmas, whether it's the summer holidays, doing that cool, romantic, expensive couple stuff. And if you don't have the funds, you and your partner, to do those things, it can, the guilt, the insecurity, the anger, the jealousy. I would love you to talk about that, Stephen, and then finishing off with what this business can offer. What this business can offer to a husband and wife, a boyfriend and girlfriend financially, based on, in terms of what we do. I'd love you to touch on that, Stephen, before you head out.
So yeah, just I think from my point of view on that, I think what you have to ask yourself is, why are you jealous of somebody else? Why are you guilty? And if you look at it, it's because of the choices that you've made in terms of the career that you've taken, the job that you've taken, and some things might not have worked out, but that's all right. You can change, and this, I think, when you stop comparing yourself to other people and start concentrating on yourself, on what you want to get for yourself and your family, then that's where you're in a better place to make better decisions. Because if you're making decisions based on the people next door, you'll make the wrong decision. But once you're making the decisions about you and your family, you can then make the right decisions in terms of going out and looking at options. And that's what our business is. Our business is an options business, because it gives a number of different people options. There are some people that join us for the community. There are some people that join us for the travel. There are some people that join us because they want to take a couple of days off work. They don't want to quit work. They just want to take a couple of days off because they want to spend it with their family. They enjoy their job. And then there's other people that want to make life-changing income. So it's options that are out there for you. And without a shadow of a doubt, you only have to look at the 4 people that are on here, the 42 people that are on here just now. These people, most of these people have made options and taken the option to change what they were currently doing. So I'm going to jump off, ladies and gentlemen, and I want to thank you for your time tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure once again, David. Thank you for having me on, and enjoy the rest of your podcast.
Thank you so much, Stephen. Again, a wealth of knowledge, and we're definitely going to get you back for part 3. So have an amazing webinar, and we'll see you soon. Thank you, brother. So, wow. I mean, we're coming to a close. So again, that topic of the guilt, the parental guilt. I can't take my children on holiday because finances are low. Or me and my husband, and me and my wife, me and my boyfriend, me and my girlfriend can't do those romantic trips because finances are low. We don't feel good about it. We feel jealous, we feel angry, we feel frustrated. I would love, first I'm going to pass over to Coach Glory to talk about that. And again, obviously finishing off with what this business can do for people in terms of finances, in terms of course, the travel. Some people can't travel because travel can be so expensive. It can be so difficult, so complex. You don't know enough about how to take 6 children to Orlando or Disneyland or Paris. But this travel business we have gives so much. It could be, some people earn amazing amounts of money on their travel. Some people get to save amazing amounts of money on their travel. Some people learn about travel, learn about how to take children abroad, learn about where to go, learn about when to go, learn about some tips and tricks and special ways to travel with your family or your spouse. So this business offers so much, but Coach Gloria, I'd love you to talk about that, the parental guilt or the husband and wife, boyfriend and girlfriend guilt of not being able to travel and do those nice things based on finances.
Yeah, that's an interesting topic. I've felt that way all day today, guilt. Why? Because, I mean, we booked our holiday. Unfortunately, it got cancelled. As a result, we are unable to go as planned. Our holiday was meant to be on the 16th of August, and I felt guilty all day because we've all looked forward to having this holiday. All of a sudden, we can't take the children as planned. So what did we do? This is where effective communication comes in. We sat down with the children and we spoke about it. We discussed it. Okay, our plans have changed. We can't go on holiday as we wanted to. So now we're going to have to enjoy summer in the UK. Do things differently. Comparison is a joy killer. You can't compare yourself with your friends because they've been on holiday and we are seeing all these beautiful pictures online. You see, unfortunately, we can't go this time, but we are going to go. It's still there. So we're not allowing that guilt, take over. We've had communication, we've had to deal with the issue. Now, in terms of the business, travel is something, it's like giving yourself a reward. You've worked hard all year, and now you're rewarding yourself with this holiday. And this is what this business allows us, gives us the opportunity to achieve. We're able to travel, we're able to earn some income from traveling. You see, we get paid by traveling. So when you travel, for us anyway, for me, when I booked my holiday, I got the happy hormone. When you travel, the happy hormone gets released. You're happy. Life satisfaction sets in. And everything you are doing becomes worth it. Okay, my job is difficult. Maybe you don't like the people around you, but I have holiday coming up. I've booked my travel. And that happy hormone increases just because you've booked travel. And that's why I love this business. It gives you life satisfaction. And as couples, when you travel, you are able to, move away from everything, every form of disruption or distraction, and you are able to bond. Your bond gets stronger. You are able to communicate better, effectively with your spouse. Maybe you travel together, you don't have any children there to disrupt you, and you're able to air, your feelings and talk about things maybe probably you've not been able to talk about for a long time. But you're in this room together, no noise, no one, and you're able to talk, you see. So travel is a very good tool. It's a great opportunity this business has given us. So I'm happy to be in this space. And if you are not in this business yet, I would encourage you to come on. This is the right time to jump on this business. And on top of you having that happy hormone, imagine you getting back money for your own holiday. The dopamine level would even increase more than normal. You'll just be feeling happy and happy. You feel happier all the time. That's the experience I've had from being in this business. Over to you.
Wow, you smashed it. Absolutely amazing. Thank you so much, Coach Glory. So to finish off, I'm going to pass over to Kelechi. Again, the same topic. Really excited to hear your take on it.
So when it comes to parental guilt, I've definitely had that in the past. There was times when we couldn't afford to go abroad and we had to stay in the UK. There was times when we couldn't afford to even go to the day trips, Chesington, Thorpe Park, those kind of places. We just didn't have the money, we didn't have the means, and I was so guilty. I felt so guilty because the children would ask every day, "What are we doing today, mummy? Where are we going today, mummy?" And you have no way of finding the means to take them on the plane or take them abroad, and then you have to find creative ways to keep them busy, keep them engaged in stuff. We're going to do some drawing, we're going to go to the park, we're going to go for a picnic. That becomes very boring very quickly, and you want to take them abroad, you want them to go to different countries, you want them to understand new languages, see new cultures, eat new foods, meet new people. This is how we broaden their minds. This is how they actually learn something new. You know, learning is not just in the classroom. It's about the experiences we have, the core memories that we create for our children. And that's one of the main reasons why I wanted to join this business. You know, we do travel. We do travel as a family of four, and we've been to some incredible places, but there's some amazing other places that we want to go to. There's some very far trips that we want to take. For example, you know, we want to go to Japan next year. You know, this time last year, there's no way I would have been able to afford to go to Japan. It would have been, you know, taking out a small mortgage to go to Japan. However, because I am now a travel business owner, I've learned things over the months. I've learned how to use the travel industry to my benefit. I've learned how to look at the suppliers and see when is the best time to travel, who is the best person to travel with, and different hacks and tricks, which has now allowed me to book our trip to Japan next year. And we're gonna go. And trust me, guys, you're gonna see on my social medias, I'm going to be shouting about it every single day. And that's because I've been able to look into the inside of the industry and learn how to use this business and leverage it for myself. And the things that I've learned from this business, I've been able to share with other people. I've been able to share with my business partners, share with my team, and the personal development that I have received, you know, that I've been able to create for myself because of the fact that, you know, I'm doing things that are outside of my comfort zone. This podcast, for example, you know, this time last year, there's no way I would have agreed to talk to this many people and to express my, you know, my relationship and marriage expertise. But here I am a year later, and I'm doing things outside of my comfort zone and absolutely loving it. If you want to learn how to take your children on holiday, and you feel like there's just no way, there's no way you can afford it, there's no way you can save the money to get on a plane with 5 children, this business is definitely for you. This is going to show you how you can leverage and monetize travel to put money into your pocket, as well as save money for yourself, save money for your family, your friends, your community members. You can even get your own clients and start your own brand if you want to. And the fact that we have so much support, so much mentoring to help us, to make us understand how to use this business to create a life of freedom and financial wealth is absolutely amazing. And that's the main reason why you know, I joined this business. And now I don't have parental guilt. I'm on holiday now. We're in the middle of nowhere in a cottage. This is not my house, you know. And we are enjoying our summer break. This is the first time I've been on a summer break, summer holidays, where I've not been worried about going on a shift. What shift am I doing? Who's going to look after the kids? Is my auntie or aunt, my cousin or my sister going to be able to take the kids while we work? We've done none of that this year because of the business. It's given me so much freedom, so many choices, so many options. And we're only at the beginning of the summer holidays. We haven't even taken a flight yet. We're about to, though. So that's what it's all about. I'll pass it back to you, David.
That's powerful, absolutely powerful. And again, just closing out for myself, you know, I don't have children at the moment, so you know, that parental guilt. What this business has done for me is help me to build something so I don't have to maybe ever experience that. I'm already in a great place with this business financially. I'm not here to brag or boast. I worked very, very hard in my job and I was poor. I worked very, very hard in this business, and it's given me a 6-figure income, which has paid me nearly more money in a month than sometimes I'd earn in a year doing my part-time jobs at Next, Maplins, Primark, Subway. And again, as adults, we want to protect ourselves financially. And this business is the best vehicle I know. £156 investment, and we've got one person in the UK who's become a millionaire, multiple 6-figure income earners earning 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60,000 pounds a month from a tiny £156 investment. That's unheard of. Millionaire mentorship for free. Millionaire mentorship for free. Travel coaching, your own business, your own website, marketing, you know, sales tools, everything you could ever need in business, support, a community, a WhatsApp group, Facebook groups, team trips. I could go on and on. Business cards, cups, coasters, umbrellas, t-shirts, all the things that you would need to promote and market your business. The number one most sexy, attractive, lucrative product in the world, the travel industry, getting paid weekly and monthly. We have the ability to get paid every Thursday, every 10th of the month. If you become a director, every 1st of the month. Travel commissions paid 2 times a month. Ladies and gentlemen, as a director in this business, we have the opportunity to get paid roughly, I think it works out to about, and my maths is not great, but it's about 86 paychecks a year. Let me repeat, 86 paychecks a year, 86. Now, I want everyone to, when we finish this webinar, go to your banking app. Go to your banking app and look at how many payments are coming into your account. For most of us who work a traditional 9 to 5, you will have 12 paychecks coming in. 12 paychecks coming in as we get paid monthly, the majority of us. Now look at the month of July. And I want you to look and I want you to count out loud. Don't count quietly. Count out loud how many payments are going out your account. From the £4 Oyster card, the £10 Uber, the £20 Oyster card because you forgot to tap out at King's Cross and they charge you more, right? The sandwich you bought, the bottle of water you thought would be £1, but it was £2.20, right? Every outgoing from your account, count how many, count out loud, and then count how many ingoings. So when you get paid only 12 times a year, but you have multiple hundreds, maybe even thousands of payments coming out, and don't think all the payments coming out are always small. You got the bottle of water, you got the Uber, you got the Uber Eats, you got the council tax, right? You got the rent, the mortgage. You have to pay some money to your ex or whatever it was, right? There's some payments that start to add up. And sometimes the income once a month is never enough. So with me, I don't want to ever have that parental guilt. That's why I'm building this business now. And it's never too late to change. I mean, I look at Natalie Graham. She has, her children, and as millionaires, she gets to, and she sometimes will post with her son, who was there day one when she was flat broke and had nothing. Today they're in first class, eating oysters around the world, living their best life. He's driving beautiful sports cars. She's buying beautiful sports cars, buying houses. But they can remember those tough days and they don't cry about it. They smile and be like, wow, remember when we didn't have $10? Wow, remember when we had to, steal the chicken, right? Whatever it was. And today, look at us. So wherever you are right now, if you're in a place where you're struggling financially, struggling with what you want to do, it's okay. Change. The opportunity is right here. So if you're struggling with that financial guilt, that parental guilt, make a change. Because don't think 2025, the guilt's going to disappear. It's going to be worse. Because from now to 2025 summertime, people that you're watching who are living that life that you want, they're going to travel a few more times. If you're watching some of us, we're going to travel a few more times. We're going to do more and more bigger, better things. We want you to do it with us. We're not here to brag and boast and say, hey, we're amazing. No, we're here to say we want to help you. It's clearly working for us. If it was a scam, if it was dodgy, we wouldn't tell you, we'll tell the police. So this is something that, we want you guys to see right now. And we are actually literally going to dive into our travel presentation, right now. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in to this phenomenal podcast. And thank you again to Stephen, who's left. Thank you so much, Coach Glory. Thank you so much, Kelechi. We can't wait for part 3. We're going to have some different topics for you guys. This has been absolutely amazing. Get back to the person who invited you here. If you've got any questions about, what it is we do, if you've got deeper questions about relationships, whoever invited you here can get you connected with one of us. If you want us to elaborate on something, if you like what we've said, if you want to, get some expert help or advice, if there's any way we can connect you with someone, of course, we've got a relationship expert here in Coach Glory who would love to do what we can to support you in that different topic. We don't normally talk about relationships, love, life, marriage, money. We normally talk about our business, but we wanted to see how we can offer value and help people who might be struggling with different things. And looking at the chat boxes, some people who are going through some things, who have issues and questions and feelings and thoughts and fears that we don't normally talk about, who need help and have been able to voice their opinions or hear information so they know they're not alone. They're not the only person going through financial abuse. They're not the only person struggling with communication issues. They're not the only person who has that parental guilt because I haven't taken my children on a holiday in 7 years. You know, we've got people who've been able to now hear from other people and are feeling that this community, we are here to build each other up, support, and ultimately help you achieve your financial goals, your travel goals, and your life goals with this business. So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll see you on the next podcast.
Thank you, David, for having me. Thank you, everyone.